They laughed at the black American maid serving coffee in a Seoul boardroom, mocking her like she didn't belong. Seconds later, she turned around, exposed their million-dollar mistake, and fired the CEO like he was nothing.
Seoul at night looked like a circuit board alive, glowing, unstoppable. At the center of that brilliance stood Choi Global Tower, a monument to power wrapped in glass and steel. 52 floors up, the boardroom stretched wide and silent, insulated from the noise of the world below. Inside, decisions were made that bent markets. And inside, arrogance lived comfortably. A long obsidian table dominated the room, surrounded by high-backed leather chairs. Screens displayed glowing projections. Growth curves, expansion maps, profit forecasts that seemed too clean to question. "Let's stay focused," Daniel Park said, his voice even, controlled. Everything stopped. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. CEO of Choi Global. Half Korean, half American. Educated in New York. Ruthless in Seoul. He tapped the table once, and a new slide appeared. Our Q4 projections show a 30% growth tied to the Asia-Pacific expansion, he continued. If executed properly, this positions us ahead of. The door opened quietly. No one turned. Because it wasn't important. Amora Williams stepped inside. Gray maid uniform. White apron. Black flats. Hair pulled back neatly. Forgettable. That was the point. She carried a polished silver tray with several cups of coffee, each arranged precisely. No spills. No shaking. No hesitation. She moved like she had done this 100 times. But her eyes. They moved differently. Sharp. Absorbing. Calculating. "Your espresso, Director Kim," she said softly. The older Korean man took it without looking. "You're late." "I apologize, sir." No reaction. Across the table, a white American executive, Richard Collins, leaned back in his chair, watching her with open amusement. "Hey," he said, interrupting the meeting. "Do they teach you English in training, or just yes, sir and sorry, sir?" A few Korean executives chuckled. One of them, younger, smirked. "You're being generous. That might already be too much." More laughter. Amora continued serving. Unbothered. Or at least, appearing that way. Inside, her mind logged everything. Tone. Language. Hierarchy. Weakness. She placed another cup down. Americano. No sugar. Collins raised an eyebrow. "Oh, she does listen." He leaned forward slightly. "Tell me something, do you even understand what we're discussing? Or does it all just sound like noise?" Director Kim joined in, voice colder. "Let's test her. What's profit margin?" Laughter again. Comfortable. Effortless. Cruel. Amora didn't respond. She finished serving. Placed the tray at the center of the table. At the head, Daniel Park watched. Not amused. Not disapproving. Just allowing. Which said more than laughter ever could. "Leave the tray and go," he said without looking at her. "Yes, sir." Amora turned. Walked toward the door. Hand on the handle. "Wait." She stopped. Didn't move. "Answer the question," Director Kim said, leaning back. "What is profit margin?" A few executives leaned in, entertained. Collins smirked. "Come on. Educate us." Silence stretched. Amora stood still for a second longer. Then. She turned. Slowly. And something shifted. Not loud. Not obvious. But undeniable. She walked back toward the table. This time, her steps echoed. Not because they were louder. But because the room had gone quiet enough to hear them. 1 step. 2. 3. She stopped beside the large screen displaying projections. Looked at it. Really looked. Then. "You're calculating it wrong." Silence. Instant. Total. Daniel's head lifted. "What did you say?" Amora didn't rush. Didn't hesitate. "Your projected profit margin for Q4 is inflated," she said calmly. "Your cost assumptions are outdated." A Korean executive frowned. This is inappropriate. Amora ignored him. You're using last year's labor cost baseline, she continued, pointing slightly at the screen. But operating costs across your Southeast Asian markets have increased by nearly 10%. Collins laughed, but it sounded forced now. This is ridiculous. Amora looked at him. Direct. Steady. And your consumer demand projections are overstated by approximately 12%, she added. That wiped the smile off his face. Director Kim leaned forward. Who told you this? No one, she replied. I read your reports. A pause. Then. The final strike. If you proceed with this strategy, Amora said, her voice steady, you will lose approximately $90 million within 6 months. The room didn't just go quiet. It tightened. Daniel stood slowly, now fully focused on her. No dismissal. No indifference. Just sharp, assessing attention. Who are you? He asked. Amora met his gaze. And for the first time, she didn't look like staff. She looked like a problem. Someone you underestimated, she said. No, Daniel said sharply. That's enough. But something in his voice had changed. Less certainty. More control being forced back into place. You've crossed a line, he continued. Security. That won't be necessary. Amora's voice cut through his command like glass. Clean. Precise. Unavoidable. She reached into her apron pocket. Every eye followed the movement. She pulled out a single card. Matte black. Minimal. Weighty in a way that didn't need explanation. She stepped forward. And placed it in front of Daniel. Soft. But final. He frowned. Picked it up. Looked at it. And froze. The shift in his face was immediate. Confusion. Recognition. Then. Shock. No, he muttered. Director Kim leaned over. What is it? Daniel didn't answer. So Kim took it. His expression collapsed almost instantly. Majority shareholder, he whispered. The room erupted. That's impossible. When did this happen? Collins sat upright. There's no way. Amora stepped forward. And now? She filled the room. My name is Amora Williams, she said. Clear. Unshaken. I'm a Black American investor, she continued, and the majority shareholder of Choi Global. The words landed heavily. Some faces showed recognition now. Williams Holdings. Old money. Serious money. The kind that didn't announce itself. Collins shook his head. We would have known. Amora's gaze flicked to him. Would you? She asked. Silence. She began walking slowly around the table. Owning the space. Over the past year, I acquired controlling shares through private channels, she explained. Strategic investments. Silent acquisitions. She paused briefly beside Director Kim. You approved 2 of those transactions. His face tightened. But you didn't notice, she added. She continued. 3 months ago, I came to Seoul, she said. Not as an executive. She glanced at her uniform. But as someone you wouldn't see. A beat. And you didn't. Her eyes moved across the room. One by one. You mocked me. A pause. You dismissed me. Another. You assumed my role defined my intelligence. No one spoke. Because they remembered. Every word. Every laugh. Daniel stepped forward slightly. You manipulated this board. Amora turned to him. No, she said calmly. You exposed yourselves. She placed a thick report on the table. These are my findings, she continued. Financial risks. Flawed projections. Leadership failures. Collins opened it. His expression shifted almost instantly. This is everything. No interruptions. Second, we restructure the Asia-Pacific expansion. All eyes on her. And third. She looked up. Her gaze sharp. Unforgiving. We build a company that doesn't mistake arrogance for intelligence. No one laughed. No one spoke. Because now. They understood exactly who she was. Amora Williams. The woman they mocked. The woman they ignored. The woman they reduced to a uniform. Until she reminded them that power doesn't announce itself. Sometimes it serves you coffee first.